love. Living the life. Living the life. Living the life.
Let's move on to our second guest of the evening, who seems to have covered all areas of study. She has a BSc in Sociology and Criminology and NLM. Do you know what that is?
Yeah.
Human rights, embarking on a journey now researching the link between the arts and empowerment of women who wear the hijab. Assalamu alaikum, Heena Khalid.
Wa alaikum salam.
Listen,
Thank you
this
for having
must
me.
be a fantastic time. Well,
Well,
I'm going to put that in
depressing
inverted commas, to talk about this issue because Paris,
Last
TV documentary
night's
last
documentary,
night.
yeah.
It's just, it's a good place. It's an interesting time to be in, but at the same time, there's going to be some challenges.
It is, and I just want to make one thing clear: is I don't, well, personally, for me and many other women who wear the hijab, I think most of them, especially living in the West, I don't feel like we need empowerment. I feel like we are very self-empowered. Alhamdulillah, we have that. So it's not about empowerment as such. It's more about, you know. So, you know, I'll go back to the history of it. I work for the Open Society Foundations within the Justice Initiative programme. And we filed a third-party intervention in the SASV France case at the European Court of Human Rights.
Okay.
And it was the lawyer was from the UK, the client was from France, and it was to take France to court against the Velban decision.
Yep.
However, the European Court of Human Rights upheld the decision. And this was last year. They upheld the decision. They said France is fine to do that, and it was under the basis of living together. So, you know, your niqab is a barrier to living to the concept of living together. So we learnt a few lessons, and I think from experience, one of the areas that we're trying to work on now is discrimination against women in Europe who in the employment sector. So many women in France can't work. There was an article 3 years ago in The Guardian about women becoming more, you know, home workers, entrepreneurs within the home because they're confined now. They can't work. They can't wear hijabs. It's even in Belgium, I think, and some areas in Germany as well. So looking at that and realising that within Europe, especially since the Paris attacks now, but even before this, many years ago, women don't have those rights. You know, Muslim women don't have those rights to be able to wear what they want and to go into employment. And what's worse is there's a lack of public support.
Sure.
Many European feminists are, you know, against the idea of women wearing the hijab. They still call it oppression, but it's not really, because for us it's our choice. So there's those blurred lines there.
Is there communication between these so-called European feminists to try and put your case across? So listen to it from me rather than what you read in the media or what your perception might be.
So I think there's been a few things. I don't think they've worked very effectively. And I think now that we live in this new age where visuals make more of an impact, they have more of an impact. You know, social media has more of an impact. You can't just go to court and expect everyone to support you. I think there was a case recently, a woman in Canada or somewhere in the US, she had a case against Abercrombie & Fitch. And
that's right.
What happened was she won the case, but she had a lot of support from the LGBT community, the Jewish community. They all came together. It's really rare in Europe. So I've been tasked, I kind of took it upon myself and said, hey, look, I'm hijabi, you know, let me try and work this out and see how we can use the arts to, you know, to maybe affect public opinion.
How do you think we can use the arts?
That's a good question. I'm still in the journey. I think, you know, there's a lot of... there was, you know, Sarah Shamsavari, she had these images up about normalising the hijab and saying, you know, these women are as stylish and everything. But I think, you know, it is arts. I had a word with someone the other day and they was like, it's not really art, is it? It's propaganda. So, you know, let's just say it's positive propaganda, but it's using visuals.
How does the likes of H&M, I mean, they've used a model recently.
And that helps, but I feel like we're continuously having to try and prove ourselves about...
Does it feel that we're almost always on the back foot? We're almost having to defend our position and actually say, hey, we're good people, you know, don't hate us.
We are, unfortunately. And, you know, the other day I was thinking, do you know what, stuff it, I'm not going to do this anymore, because why should we have to continuously prove ourselves? Just get out there. You know, for us, we have a very simplistic view of our hijab. I put it on, I hardly ever iron it, and I walk out and get about my daily business. But for other people, they have 1,000 narratives about it.
So since the attacks in Paris, even before that, we've had, you know, other, I suppose, attacks and incidences in other countries as well. How has it impacted you as a Muslim woman who wears hijab?
So I travel for work around Europe, around, you know, other countries. I've, you know, been travelling alone in many countries, but for the first time ever, I've actually felt fear getting on the tube in London. I've never felt that.
It's interesting you mentioned that because I've spoken to a lot of sisters who have expressed that in the last few days, particularly, and
Only
certainly
recently.
possibly from last night or a couple of nights ago, the episode that came up. That's going to be.
Well,
it's
that's going to
problematic.
make it worse, and I think that documentary was such bad timing, and it's irresponsible media. This is the thing. There's so much, media irresponsibility.
Because we were just talking before you came on. You were going to do art and hijab, but now you wonder whether it should be art and niqab because there's a.
Not exactly I think hijab in the sense, hijab and the veil. I think to get visible Muslim women, visible Muslim women. Let's just put it that way. I set up a group yesterday, actually the day before, called the Hijab Experience on Facebook. So if anyone wants to check out the group, it's called the Hijab Experience. It's a closed group. It's more for women who wear the hijab or the niqab, and women who are interested in the field.
Sure.
We're trying to use that platform to bring women together who can talk about the issue, who can talk about the various issues around the hijab, to get people talking. And also, I've decided to set up an event very soon. I think, inshallah, it'll be before 2016. And it'll be an event for, sisters who wear the hijab, who are scared, or not just scared, but want more information. Hopefully, we'll have some self-defence instructor in there.
So stay with us, because there's a lot more to come.
Sorry.
It's very important
I've
topic.
got something on self-defence for you.
Absolutely.
Talking about sweet things, Chef, welcome back.
Not him. His food. I'm sure he's sweet as well.
So, what have we got here?
There you go. You got the Bengali donuts.
So these are actually they're more like dough balls than donuts.
Yeah.
Hina, would you like to grab one of those?
Yeah, sure.
And we'll grab one
And
as well?
maybe pass
they're
us the
nice
pot,
and
because we
Can you
can't
pass the
reach.
pot because we'll probably have more than one each.
Yeah, I'll let you eat that in one go.
Bismillah. Right, let's have a look
Bismillah.
at this.
There we go. Bismillah. Let's try that. These are your Bengali
So
donuts.
it's a dough ball.
Yep.
Interesting outside. And you know what? It's not too sugary.
Yeah.
I
So
like that.
you just sprinkle a little bit on
It's
top,
not very
so-
oily either.
Because you've had once.
You've got this down to a T.
Mashallah.
But yeah, we can get it more healthy.
You've
You
actually
can
got
have
this
your
down to a
fruits.
T. There we go.
Oh, tea.
One for
you
the
should have made
camera.
some tea.
I should have.
That's very nice,
Go
mashallah.
You
Right.
actually got this down to a T. It's not very oily.
No,
It hasn't got a lot of sugar on it.
it's very
but I suppose-
Moorish.
There you go. That's why there's
What
loads
makes
more.
it even more Moorish is when you dip it in cream.
Brilliant.
Bismillah.
There we go.
Okay. Well,
So how long did that take you to make?
The dough itself took about 4 hours. It needs
Wow.
to prove like
Okay.
bread dough. But yeah, it took a couple of minutes in the fire. That's it.
Hina, you got a sweet tooth?
I've got a really sweet tooth. They were good.
As you've dipped into your fifth one.
actually tucks one into a handbag. Or
Had
5.
6.
Mashallah.
So listen, let's go back to what are you feeling about the current climate and sisters with hijab? Do you think there's a bit of fear at the moment?
There is, with all the videos of the attacks that have happened recently, it is like my wife herself, she's a bit afraid to go outside. But I think if the media can calm down a bit, then it will, fizz out. Everyone will go back to normal.
Is that what the main? Sorry, is that the main thing, Hina? Is it the media? Is that where the starting and end point really is?
I hate to say it, but no, I don't hate to say it. It's true. The media responsibility is it's really bad. They're the irresponsible ones. I mean, the Sun the other day, 1 in 5 British Muslims.
Rather than 4 in 5 don't, it's 1 in 5 do, right?
1 in 5 do.
It's how they
but
spin it.
Yeah, it's how they spin it, and apparently it was all a farce the way
Yeah.
they did the whole survey. So they do, and then social media. You've got Britain's First, and you've got all these people putting up lies, and the way. One thing I've learned in the last few days is verify something before you forward it on. There's been a lot of text messages going around, even some attacks
comments
which weren't even
as well.
true.
Sure.
And so just verify. But when people don't verify, you spread things around.
Sorry, I'm just hitting you on the head.
Just hit me, it's fine.
You need to put a hijab on, I think.
The question is, what is your advice to the women watching, our sisters who are very afraid, are worried about going out, taking public transportation, for example? What was your advice to them? And if something should happen, what should their first, I suppose, port of call be?
So, from myself personally, is don't feel scared. Go out there and, don't feel like something's going to happen to you. Don't leave with that, pray your Ayatul Kursi and everything and leave the house with confidence. But at the same time, if something does happen to you, report it to the police. Dial 999, dial 101. There's loads of other. There's a poster going around about, you know, being harassed on public transport. If it's on public transport, note the bus. You know, make note of everything, the bus license number and the driver license number and everything. But don't feel scared, and you know, also don't feel scared about defending yourself. I think every sisters need to go out there and get self-defense classes and walk
the
around.
The interesting thing about defending yourself, and there was that feature on with the two guys on the bridge of the selfie stick. We had a guest on a couple of nights ago, who actually, it's a feature, sorry, that was actually in Russia. And they were showing how to use a selfie stick as a defence mechanism. But on a serious note, look, is it a danger of becoming a society that's kind of scared? Is there a danger of that?
It is. There's a lot of fearmongering going on, and we've all become scared of each other. And what's happening is, when I remember, you know, writing about multiculturalism in London and the UK and how great this country is, but now we've kind of broken away into our own community groups, and we're doing the opposite of what is supposed to be happening in this time. We need to go back a little bit, and you know.
Certainly, I don't think we can do this topic much justice. It is a huge topic, and you've definitely got a huge amount to contribute to it. But if people want to get hold of you, if they want to know a little bit more about your work, and maybe even get involved, participate with what you're doing, how can they do that?
So I have set up the page on Facebook. It's a group called the Hijab Experience. Feel free to join in. My name's Heena Khalid. You can find me on Facebook if you need to inbox me and speak to me about something valuable. There will be an event going on soon somewhere in central London for sisters, for women, to talk about these issues, you know, openly discuss what we can do, how can we positively highlight the issues, and also, you know, wear people off and say, look, don't attack us. But most importantly, what annoys me, and I need to say this on her, is silent bystanders. I don't care about the one that attacks you. I care about the silent bystanders that stand around and watch these things happen.
Brilliant. Thank you very much. Chef, people want some of these Bengali donuts. Where are they going to come?
Follow the Rapster. You saw the logo up there.
It's the W.
With the W. And Mr. Chef Rahman from my YouTube channel, where I teach.
Jazakallah khair. Thank you so much for coming again once. And again, actually giving us a taste of something that can be a little bit different, because
That's lovely. Really was, Masha.
Well, look, I'm afraid that's all we've got time for tonight. A huge thank you to both our guests attending the show, and for you, the lovely audience out there, for tuning in.
Yeah, but it doesn't end there. Stay with us on Twitter at Islam Channel, #LTL, and on Facebook.com, the Islam Channel.
And of course, if you've got some favourite clips you want to watch again, you can go to youtube.com, Islam Channel TV, and be sure to email us your stories and community champions on LTL@islamchannel.tv.
Also, do stay tuned, as our live laser eye surgery will be on right after the show. We'll be back tomorrow at 7 p.m. But from us, have a wonderful evening. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. All done.
Living the life. Living the life. Living the life. Living the life.